and greetings from Chicagoland. I'm Munira Zahabi, the Niche Navigator, and welcome to Munira's Musings. I'm your host, podcaster, author, coach, and international speaker. Each week, I bring you insightful conversations with extraordinary individuals who share their unique perspectives and stories. Join me on this captivating journey as we explore new ideas and inspirations. Now, let's dive into today's episode with our special guest.
Greetings from Chicagoland. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Munira's Musings, where we explore the unique stories of our incredible guests. Each episode is designed to not only highlight their journey, but also to uncover valuable insights where we can all learn from. Through their experiences, we aim to inspire, educate, and empower you in your own path. If you enjoy these conversations, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And stay connected and spread these stories to others. Somebody may be inspired. Sit back, tune in, and let's dive into the conversations that matter. Our guest today is Audra Fournier, all the way from Florida. Welcome, Audra. How are you?
Thank you. Yes, I'm great. I'm so delighted to be on the show. I appreciate the invitation.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Audra.
So primarily, I do lots of different things. I would call myself a serial entrepreneur. I'm a third generation business owner. My family's been running and owning businesses since the 40s. Many of the businesses are multi-generational now, which is a really soft spot for me. Family-owned businesses are a very unique space. The blend of culture, emotion, loyalty, ties, and longevity in business really make them a unique space. In addition to that, so in that space, I'm also a certified master business coach. So I help business owners build and retain and run and lead better businesses through efficiency, through mindset shifts, through understanding leadership and culture, through building teams. We do lots of things to help small business owners really stay consistent in what they do so that they can be major contributors within their communities, which is what they are. I also own and work with my siblings in our own family business, and we invest in commercial and residential real estate. So I do lots of things. I'm also a professor over at Florida State University teaching entrepreneurship. So I'm very excited, and I really get to love on and give back to small business owners in a way that really helps them grow. So that's what I do.
So it seems like your niche is small businesses. How did you find that?
Well, my background is actually in my career. For many years, I worked in hospitality. And what I fell in love with in hospitality is creating a customer experience. Especially when you work in hotel spaces, we're creating an experience and an environment for the guests that come into those hotels. And then I fell in love with coaching because I hired my first coach. I was in a space in my life where I needed one. And I found great value in that. And so my passion was to blend business and my MBA and customer service and all of those things with the coaching platform, which is helping them navigate through business ownership. And so it kind of evolved into small businesses have become my passion.
Let me ask you this. You moved from hotel industry to coaching. Why did you choose small businesses?
Because I think that they need a lot of resources, and sometimes they don't have access to all of those resources. When you work with large businesses and corporations, they can bring in all kinds of consultants and all kinds of different resources that they have at their fingertips. Whereas I feel like small businesses, even though they're the backbone of the United States and the economic development of small communities, and they employ more people than all of the large businesses put together, they don't generally have access to the same level of resources that large corporations do. So I felt kind of a heart tug in that space to be able to give them those resources so that they can excel and, contribute.
Now, you mentioned leadership and resources. Why do businesses, when they start, need all of this stuff, mindset shifts and everything? Why, once they've found a business, why do they need a mindset shift?
Oftentimes, we start a business based upon an opportunity that we see out in our environment, a need that's not met, or a skill or talent that they've either developed over time or they've graduated from an institution with, right? So you have a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer that comes out of school and they have this skill and talent, and then they want to go out and they want to start a business with that. They want to open up their own law practice or their own, dental office, but they don't always in school get the skill set of running a business. Or if they recognize that they're really great at painting or landscape or pool building or whatever. So they have this talent, but that talent generally doesn't plug in to business acumen and business knowledge. And so they need to be taught, or they're just going to have to figure it out on their own, which takes generally an extraordinary amount of time, trial, effort, failure to gain the skill set. But if you can get resources in your environment like myself that help you navigate that business ownership step, then they can bring that skill or talent to market. So that's why I think they need the resources.
Right. Thank you. Because I'm just asking you the questions because there's other entrepreneurs that are listening, right? And then they
Absolutely.
are also thinking, why do I need this, right?
Yeah.
You talked about coaching and you said resources. Now, many small businesses are going to start and they're not going to have enough resources. So how do they then budget for a coach like you and me?
So there are multiple ways to do this. So one, there are a lot of free resources before they come to me or you. There are a lot of free resources in a lot of communities sponsored by institutions like the Small Business Development Center. But one-on-one coaching, because you and I can deal in not only potentially the business side of things, but leadership and mindset is not generally the resources that are available through the Small Business Development Centers, which is sponsored by the federal government. They don't normally give you the headspace stuff. So setting aside funds like any other expense or investment that you have for your business is one way to be able to do that. And then talking with the coach to see, sometimes they have packages or programs that can start you off in the right direction and lead you eventually to the one-on-one coaching, but still give you resources that you need to be able to increase revenue or decrease expenses so that you can have those funds to set aside to invest in coaching for the business.
Okay, so I understand that. Okay, so now when you go in and you work with several businesses, I'm guessing you've done a lot of business with small businesses. What is a few common themes that they should be looking out for that you think that everybody is making that mistake or they need help with?
Yes. So there are some reoccurring themes in small business management and ownership. One is time management. So the owner, if it's just the owner, you're wearing lots of hats. So you're doing HR, you're doing customer service, you're doing order fulfillment, you're doing all of the things. And that becomes very overwhelming. And then you don't know when and how to hire to be able to delegate some of those tasks off your plate. So time management of the owner, if you're a single owner, or time management in general, has a tendency to be a big problem. And then when do I hire? And when I do hire, what am I hiring for? And what do I delegate? So getting into that team building kind of process, as well as how do I hire? And then when you do hire, they often don't want to relinquish control of tasks. So they're not very good delegators. So then we sit down and we talk about the power of delegation and the borrowing of other people's time to fulfill and how much control they need or want to have around the tasks that they're delegating. And then we get into culture development. So the culture of the business is going to be led by the mindset of the owner. That's just the natural progression of things. And so we get into what kind of culture do you want to create? After culture, we talk about systems and processes because customers rely on consistency. They want to know that every time they come to your business, they're going to get the same level of service in the same kind of way. And without having a system or process around how you do your business, then that consistency is never really achieved. So we sit down and we talk about systems and processes to make it easier for them to run their businesses and to make it easier.
When you talked about consistency, the first thing that came to mind was McDonald's and how their burgers, everything is the same. Everything goes through a system. Mm-hmm. So people may argue, small business people will say, but they have a large business. How do I figure out systems? So what do small business owners, how do they implement a small system for them to make consistency work in their business?
That's a very good question. Coming from the hospitality industry, I start with, what does the customer journey look like? So from the first time that they interact with your business, what kind of brand feel do we have, right? And then once, let's say they interact once, the second touch point, so I'm going to use an example here because it's easier. So let's say that I want to have a room painted, and I find a painter. And so I see the painter's Facebook page and know that they service my community and they do what I want done. So I call the painter and I say, hi, I would like to have a room painted. And so then he puts me through a journey, which is called a customer journey or a buying journey, right? So he makes an appointment with me to come over and view my space. And then he sends me a proposal, and then I agree to said proposal, and then he reaches back out and we select a color. And so we go through a color selection, and then he schedules a date to paint the room, and then he sends me the invoice for payment. And then he follows up with me in a couple of weeks saying, hey, is there anything else that I can do for you? This is an entire customer journey. And creating consistency of the process of that journey makes it easier for the painter, and it makes it easier for the customer to know what happens next. Because I expect that if I call him again to paint a different room, I will go along that same journey. Now, if the ball falls and he doesn't call me back for 4 or 5 days, or he sends me color swatches or never does, then that creates an inconsistency, right? And then I can't rely on that I'm going to have the same level of service that I had the last time. So there is a checklist or a system or a process to that entire engagement. Do you agree?
Right. I understand. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I like it.
For anybody, any business, they can have this process. And the reason that we go back to, Chick-fil-A every single time is because we know that we're going to get the same level of service every single time. That the chicken sandwich is going to taste the same every time, that the waffle fries are going to taste the same every time, which is why we go back. Now, if the flavor changed every time because the cook decided they were having an off day, then that creates an inconsistency that I can't rely on as a consumer. That's why it's so important.
Right. I understand. So thank you so much for giving us that painter example.
Yeah.
So you mentioned when the ball drops, so sometimes the painter doesn't call back. Now, as a consumer to a small business, and we want to help businesses, small businesses. So as a consumer, what do you think that I should do as a consumer, not as a business owner? Because there are expectations. Every business owner has expectations.
Yeah. It's a balance between kind, generous feedback, not being mean about it, but, bringing it to the attention of the business owner, but also grace. Small business owners, it's tough, especially when you're a one-man or a one-woman company. We have lots of blind spots, and we're living in a space of go, go, go. So I think it's both helpful to receive feedback as long as it's, kind and thoughtful, but also to give grace. So we help our small business owners out in both of those ways.
And what is one thing that small business owners should not do?
Try to be everything to everyone. Like the painter that the homeowner also says, hey, do you know a landscape guy? And they're like, oh, well, you need some help outside? I can do that. And do you know a plumber? Well, if it's small plumbing things, then I can do plumbing too. Stop trying to be everything to everyone, because that muddies the water. The consumer gets confused, and you're not great at everything, because I'm not great at everything. So you're not going to be the best plumber and electrician and painter and window washer. And do you know what I mean?
I do.
And we end up chasing the money and not wanting to spread the love. I don't know how to explain that. You should have very good referral partners in your network. That is more important, I think, than being everything to everyone. So if a homeowner says, hey, do you know a plumber? So recommend a really good plumber that is going to do a really good job, because that adds value to you as the painter being a hub of resource, as opposed to I can do everything. So then they'll call the painter back and say, hey, I really liked your plumber. Do you also have an electrician that you know and trust? And then if you have one of those in your network, then you become that kind of hub person, but you're not doing everything. Does that make sense?
Right, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
What is one question that I should have asked you that I haven't?
That's a good question. Why do you have so much passion for helping small businesses? I know you asked me why I chose small businesses, but you didn't ask me why I'm so passionate about it.
Okay, so what please answer the question.
Yeah. So answer your own question.
Why do you have passion?
Because I truly believe that America runs on small businesses, and that they are the most reflective of what's happening in our environment. If our small businesses are not successful, then there is something significantly wrong in the community. It's either not fostering small business, it doesn't make individuals feel like small businesses can thrive. They employ such an extraordinary amount of people within a community that it is the litmus test of whether a community is healthy. And so I think giving back to these small businesses and helping them thrive is really a way to help all communities thrive, and to foster creativity, and to foster innovation. So I think that, large businesses are really great, and I think that they need to thrive too. But our small businesses, like if somebody has an idea and feels like their community will take that idea and foster it, then they can go out in that community and they can create something really interesting and really beautiful. And so I'm a big fan. That's why.
Thank you. Now, let me ask you one more last question is, what do you consider a small business?
That's a good question too, because the U.S. federal government considers small businesses to be anything under, I think, 25 million in revenue. I consider small businesses to be anything under about 5 million in most communities. And I live in a fairly small community, so a $5 million business, has its legs under it, and it's thriving and it's contributing to its community. And I've worked from anything from brand new startups to $20 million businesses, and I really love them all.
How do people find you, Audra?
I'd like to think I'm everywhere. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. My handle on Instagram is @Audra Fournier. My business page on Facebook is Audra Fournier dash Partners for a Solution, because that's the name of my company, is Partners for a Solution. And you can email me or call me or send me an instant message or an Instagram message. And I'm always happy to answer any questions. If you have a business, large or small, and you have a question about, just about anything, feel free to reach out to me and ask. I'm always here to help. And I like to be a resource for my community as well, coaches and businesses alike. So
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to us. We are talking to Audra Fournier all the way from Florida, and she is passionate about small businesses. Go ahead and connect with her if you are a small business, if you need some resources or anything. But here's the thing, small businesses are under $5 million. We are not looking at what federal government thinks, we're thinking of what we think. If you are a small business, then listen to this broadcast and figure out where you are creating maybe shifts, maybe systems. How do you do that? And do this for your business, because everything that we've talked about is completely genuine, and you need all of these things to be done in your business. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Audra. We will see you with another new guest, with a new perspective, with a new incentive and a new niche. Until then, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Niche Navigator. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. If you found value in today's episode, Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. Your support really helps us keep bringing you amazing content. For more updates and behind-the-scenes glimpses, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all our other social platforms. The links are in the description below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you there. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week.